Welcome to class, guys. Today we are going to learn how to make a basic skirt. So when you hear the word basic, we are simply talking about the foundation. So when you hear words like basic blouse, we are talking about the foundation of a blouse, basic dress, the foundation of a dress, and basic skirt, the foundation of a skirt. So every style is definitely derived from a foundation. So we now want to make the basic foundation of a skirt. Before you can make any other skirt, you should know how to make the basics. Then you can now do your styling to achieve whatever design of your choice. So to make this skirt, we are going to draft it right on the pattern. The body measurement I'll be working with is waist 34, hip 44, and the knee length is 22. That is measuring from the waist to the knee. Okay, I'm using 22 and the full length is 29 inches. So it can differ. If you want to make a short skirt, you won't need a knee length. But if you're making a long skirt, then you definitely need a knee length. Okay, because we need a knee length measurement to determine if we are making a pencil or straight skirt. So these are the measurements I'll be working with, and you know that all these measurements are divided into four, basically the waist and the hip. So we don't get to divide the knee length and the full length. Okay, so we're dividing just the waist and the hip measurement. We'll go ahead now to impute this on our pattern. To put all these measurements to our patterns, we will first need to draft out all these lines. That is the waistline, the hip line, the knee line, and the full length of the dress. So although we are taking the measurement vertically, but you're going to be placing it horizontally. So I've shared my pattern into two, and one part is going to serve as my front and the other part as my back. This is just the same method you get to use when you're drafting a basic blouse. But drafting a basic skirt, you just need your waist and hip line before you can impute those measurements. Now, this other line at the extreme is my zipper allowance line, and we have just kept it there. We're going to be using it, and I'll show you how. I'll label my front part and my back part. This line is going to serve as my startup line as well as my waist line. So I'll label it waistline. Then I'll go ahead now to measure my hip line. Placing my tape from my startup line, which is my waistline, I'll be taking note of my hip line. So you can use 8 or 9 inches. The standard falls in between that. If you are working with someone that is extra big, then you could use 10, or better still, you could just measure this. Okay, so I'll be working with 9 inches as this works well for me. I will mark that down. I'll go ahead to mark that measurement right to the back part as well, noting the point and connecting it with a line. So here we have our hip line. The next we're going to be taking is our knee length line. Okay, so you must have measured this on yourself or your client, and then place that measurement from your waistline, and whatever you get, you go ahead to mark that down. So I'll be using 22 inches for my knee line. I'll go ahead to mark this down and connect the point. So this line now serves as my knee line. The next I'll be taking is my full length of the skirt, and I'm taking it at 29 inches. Of course, you can just take yours how long or short you want it to be. So I'm taking mine at 29 inches, and then I'll connect the lines. So this now serves as my full length. Now it is time to start putting in our measurement on these lines. We're going to put in that measurement we have taken. So remember, we get to divide our measurements by 4, and that's what I'll be applying here. So placing my tape now horizontally from my center front, I'm going to take my waist measurement, which is 34 divided by 4 is 8.5. I'll mark that down. Because we're drafting the front and the back together, so I'll be putting that same 8.5 on the back. So while I'm drafting the front, I will as well be drafting the back. So next I'll be taking my hip measurement. I'm working with hip 44. Divide by 4 is 11. So I'll mark 11 inches down, as well as take it to the other part of the pattern to mark out the back at 11 inches as well. So the next we're going to do now is to mark our knee line measurement. And what we're going to do is to bring down the hip measurement right on the knee line. Okay, so I'll be marking that 11 inches I had marked on my knee line, on my hip line, right on my knee line. I will also do the same for the other part, mark my 11 inches on that knee line. Now we're going to connect all these points to form the shape of our skirt. I'll be connecting these points with my curve roll. Please do not use a straight roll because this is a skirt and you want it curved as possible. So ensure that you're using your curved, or if you don't have a curve, just create a curved line with your free hand. Then next I'll connect a line from the hip line to the knee line. So for these I'll be using a straight roll because we are measuring the same line there. So it's going to be straight at that point. The next thing we're going to take now is our dart. We take darts for fittings of the skirt. So you're going to take your dart on your nipple to nipple measurement or your nipple line. My nipple to nipple measurement is 9 inches. So I'll be putting half of that because we are assuming that we are cutting this on fold. So half of 9 is 4.5. I will note that down at this point, 4.5. I'm just going to measure 5 inches downwards to get our dart leg. And then I will measure half inches on both sides of this point on the waistline and connect it to this point. So let's first draw the middle leg and then connect it like so. So you agree with me that at this point, the measurement we have taken at this point would be short if we close our dart. So what we are going to do is to replace this dart back to our waistline. So the total intake of dart here is 1 inch. So I'll come in and take in back that 1 inches like so. And then I'll use my curve to retrace this. So this is therefore my new waistline at this point, because we are going to be closing this dart. I'll also do the same for the back. First, I'll take my nipple to nipple measurement at 4.5 from this line. And then for the back, I like to come down by 5.5 or 6 inches. So I'll do 5.5 here and then connect this line. I'll take my half inches on both sides and then I'll connect my dart legs. Next, we're going to replace this dart on our skirt measurement, on our waist measurement. So this is therefore my new waistline for the back. So next, you're going to determine if you want to leave your skirt straight or you want to make it pencil. If you want to make your skirt straight, you're just going to bring down this to the end and you have your straight skirt. But if you want it pencil, you're going to go in by either 1.5, 2 inches, or at most 2.5 inches. Please do not do anything more than 2.5 or at most too tight 3 inches. I like to do 2 inches for mine. So what I have from this point is my pencil skirt, and what I have here is a straight skirt. So this is what we'll be working with because this is going to serve as our pencil skirt. So the next I'll do now is to bring down this pencil measurement, what we have from here to this point, 9 inches, and then bring it down to the full length of my skirt, 9 inches. And then I'll use a straight line to connect this. So let me just bring this down so you understand better what I mean. If I was to go for just a normal straight skirt, this is going to serve as our straight skirt. But because I'm going for a pencil skirt, I will be using this line. So this is where I'll be cutting as our pencil skirt. So I'll be cutting on this line. I'm going to repeat the same here, and I'll be taking my pencil skirt measurement, which is 9 inches, placing it from this point and measuring my 9 inches. And then I'll connect my curve to that point. I'll bring down the same 9 inches, which is serving as my pencil skirt measurement now, and place it. Let me just mark out the 11 inches that we brought down from our hips, serving as a straight line, straight skirt measurement. So this is our pencil skirt, and this is our straight skirt for the back. So basically, we are almost done with this skirt. The next thing we want to do now is to contour. You're going to contour the front on the waistline, and you'll be contouring the back, during a bum contouring here. So that's going to sit perfectly and fitted. So for the front, you can come down by 1 inches for the front, okay? This is to avoid any form of gaping when you wear your skirt. You know that puffy effect when you don't sew a skirt right, you get to see around this area. We want to eliminate that. The dart is going to help out, but taking out this will help out as well. So I have come down by 1 inches, and what I'll do now is to connect this 1 inches to my new waistline. So you can actually use a curve to do this. So it's not exactly straight. Just be connecting this with a curved line. So this is now our new waistline for the front. Then for the back, we're not touching the waistline. You can leave it straight, but we are contouring the bum. So to contour the bum, you're just going to measure 1.5 inches below the hip line. We're going to come down by 1.5 inches. And then we'll just draw a straight line. So this is our contour line. And then on the knee line, we're also going to come in by 1 or 1.5 inches. You can do 1.5, you can do 1 inches. This is to eliminate that gauze look under the bum. You want this skirt fitted. So we are trying to eliminate that bogus look. You know how you wear a skirt and under your bum will be looking, not fitted. It will be flying. It won't be fitted because of the protrusion of your bum. So with this contouring, when you wear your skirt, under your bum will still look very snatched, and that way it even make your bum look, protruded and well fit. So we're going to connect this now to this contour line, like so. Then we will bring down this 1 inches here as well. The next would also be contouring this area. Now, if this was a full dress, you agree with me that we get to contour the zipper area, and that contouring also descends to the skirt area. So even though this is not a full dress, it is just a skirt, we are still going to, do that zipper contouring. That way is going to help your bum curve right. So I'm going to come in by 1/2 inches on this part, and then I will draw my line to the hip line. Guys, at this point, we are done with our skirt. Okay, so you're just going to add your zipper allowance either now, or you could add that on your fabric when you're transferring. Now we'll need to add a vent to this. Okay, the vent is that opening you have on your slit. So I'll come up to create my slit. Your slit is that opening to determine how open you want it at the back. It's a pencil skirt, so you're not going to close up your slit because you want to make room for you to be able to walk comfortably with it. So you're going to create our slit. You're going to determine how open you want it. So from your knee line, you just determine if you want it higher, if you want it on your knee. Make sure that it is above your knee so that you're able to walk. I'll be coming in by 2 inches. If you want it more open, you go more higher. Okay, for mine, I'll be doing, or let's do 3 inches. And then on this point, I will take my vent measurement. So you can do 3 inches, 2.5. So I'll go ahead now to just mark out what I have left, which is 2.5. I would also mark on this point 2.5, and the full length 2.5 as well. So this now is my vent. We will draw it like so and close up. So this is my vent. So when we get into transferring to a fabric, you will understand how we're going to close this up on our skirt. I'll go ahead now to cut out. This is my front pattern. This is my center front. When I'm cutting, I know this is my center front, even though with the shape I can tell. So this is my back pattern, and this is my center back. So guys, I'll go ahead to cut now. So since we're making a pencil skirt, I don't need this. If I was making a straight skirt, I'm going to cut out here. So I'll be taking my pencil skirt and cutting out the straight away because I don't need it. Remember, this is our new waistline, so we're not using here anymore. We also created a new waistline, so we're not using this anymore. This is our front pattern, guys. So I'm going to cut out this point to this point. So guys, we have not added our zipper allowance. You can actually decide to leave this and add it to your fabric, or you could decide to add it now. What I'll do is just to add up my zipper allowance. I'll be adding 1.5 inches. Take note of the lines we're going to be adding on. So I'm measuring from all these lines. Because this is a curved line and we added inches, I'm not going to be adding this with a straight line. So I'll be using my curve to just connect all these points. If you notice, you will see that it is not a straight line. This will help your skirt to sit perfectly and fitted on your bum. So let's continue and finish up the cutouts. So guys, this is what we have. Therefore, this is our zipper allowance. You can choose to add this much later or now on your pattern, because you're going to need to keep your patterns in case you want to, use it for other projects. Hey guys, we've come to the end of this tutorials, and we have our front pattern and our back pattern. In our next video, I'll be showing us how to transfer this to our fabric. I hope you found this video helpful. Please subscribe. I will see you in the next video where we'll have to transfer this to our fabric. Bye for now.